Watch it, you're gonna get all the roads and all the bridges.
Good morning, welcome to the first meeting of the 2025 calendar year, the County Facilities Committee. Before we do anything, I'd like to congratulate Superintendent Kevin Hajos for being elected President of New York State County Highway Association.
Congratulations.
Moving along. Approval of the minutes of the prior meeting, which I don't even remember when that was. We have one in December? November. You care to move that? Second,
I'll second.
Supervisor Conover, second by Supervisor Diamond. Any comments, additions, deletions? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any abstained? Okay. We'll take the airport agenda first. And privilege of the floor, public comment. Not seeing or hearing any, we'll move down to we have no action agenda, no new business items. We have three discussion items, and we'll begin there with Mr. Matt.
Again, morning, everyone. I am extremely disappointed to report regarding the air show update that we were not selected by any of the military jet teams, so Thunderbirds, Blue Angels, and so on. We will continue to work with the air show network to possibly have a smaller show in the interim, or maybe a blended show, i.e. a static display air show mixed with a car show. The biggest challenge with that would be the cost associated with producing such an event. So they will examine that possibility and get back to us maybe within the next month or two. Now the next step is to try to apply for the opportunity for 2027 for those military jet teams.
Questions?
Did they give you any insight?
They didn't give any official reasons, but Airshow Network's relationship with the Blue Angels is unofficially not in exactly a very big market here for their military jet teams.
What else?
So I came up late, traffic backed up all over. Airport show,
Selected for 2026. They're gonna try again for 2027.
is
But
that what we're talking about?
yes, yes.
And it is a go so far?
It is not. It is not.
No.
Yeah, yeah.
Couldn't get the military aircraft.
As we've talked about before, it's they probably use like Stewart's Air Force Base or things like that are something a little bit bigger, and maybe they'll get more of an attraction out of New York City and people to come up. And for us, the difficulty is too that we have that acrobatic box that there's 14 homes within an acrobatic box, so we would have to, the air show would have to discuss that with each of those homeowners to see if they could relocate during the show or relocate, and they would certainly take care of them. They talked about putting them up in a hotel, giving them front row seats to the show. But that's part of this is a difficulty as well. But as Robin said, this year was just not our year, and we're still going to apply for 27 to see if we can get it then.
The reason for 1,000 foot longer.
The acrobatic box will not change. At that point. It's still the same box.
Thank you for that. Anyone else? Okay. Solar farm update?
The solar farm is progressing very well. They usually have their monthly reports that Superintendent Hajos is included on. So there's some trench work as well as some fence work, as well as electrical scope progress. They're coordinating with the town of Queensbury. They submitted their updated electrical plans to the assessor's office very recently. So that project is processing smoothly. The small hiccup we had encountered is that they submitted the wrong height requirements for crane work to the FAA. They submitted a maximum height of 20 feet, but their crane needs to go up to at least 80 to 100 feet. So they had to resubmit those forms to 7460, which unfortunately will cause a 30 to 45 delay as it relates to crane work. I'm trying my best to work with the FAA to have it expedited, but they are quite busy this time of year. Questions?
And I'll just add, I think most of the panels and things like that, most of the equipment is on site now.
Yeah.
And storage on site, so once they get through the 7460, they're ready to go.
Because as you said at the board meeting, it was, the county doesn't get paid until they flip it.
So they flip the switch.
Okay, next, the hangar project.
And I'm pleased to report that we are progressing very well on the 6 BAT hangar project. I think there was a form you want to just pass some pictures there. We reached the stage where we got the punch list items, so we're expecting the tenants to be moving in next month sometime. That will allow us to complete this project and move to our next phase, which is a demo and reconstruction of the old PBA hangars. That's expected to go out to bidding later this year. Construction start closer winter of later this year, 2025.
Gold hangers, they're the ones in the southeast.
Yes, that's correct.
Anyone, questions, comments? If not, I guess that's it.
Anyone mentioned the next month's master plan?
Yeah, if you'd like to talk to, we have one more thing we could
Go
add.
ahead. Sure.
Our consultant, McFarland Johnson, who are working with us on the master plan, they'll be giving a very brief presentation next month in February. So I'll be reaching out to the Pilots Association and any interested parties to attend. It'll be a very brief overview of what
That's
the
fine,
master
that'd be
plan
good.
project.
Great. Look forward to that. Is that it?
That's
Thank you, Mr.
Robin,
Mayor.
thank you.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day, everyone.
You too. Thank you. Next, we will take up the buildings and grounds agenda. Privilege of floor, public comment. There being none, we'll proceed to discussion. I would have no action for the business.
Okay, discussion items, work order request programs at 5,746. State car request programs at 4,273 currently. Move on to Kevin.
So I'm gonna kind of get a state of the union here, or state of DPW with our projects. So the first one we have on there is the boardroom update. The boardroom renovation project, we awarded the contract in December. We're awaiting a construction schedule from the contractor pending receipt of approval of their shop drawings. The intent is to start construction once GC, the general contractor, has procured all the necessary equipment and materials that he needs. The contract times are 60 days, so I've reached out to Amanda because we'd rather not have them start the boardroom and then you have to have a board meeting, 30 days later and then let them get back, so pull them out, let them get back in. So Amanda and I are discussing options of other places in the county center or at HSB that we might be able to allow or do the board meeting in that separate space so that it gives them straight 60 days to get this done. Furniture, all the furniture contracts have been purchased through New York State OGS contracts. We'll coordinate the delivery of the furniture once the GC has completed their work. The only thing that was an unforeseen condition was the mastic under the tile underneath the carpet was found to have asbestos. So we didn't find that until after the bid because we were rushing to get the bid out and get the money encumbered to a contract. So we had the contractor here last week to go through with his subcontractor for asbestos mitigation, but we're waiting to get some response back from them as to cost. So there could be some extra added cost to that asbestos removal.
Do we have to remove the tiles for any reason? We can't leave them in place.
We can leave them in place and most likely we will try to do that. But with that being said, This, number one, it's a one-time cleanup for that room that will probably be touched and all of us will be gone by the next time that room may be touched. But two is if they start pulling up that carpet, which has that adhesive into it, as soon as they pop one tile, then we're in trouble. So that's where we just assume, let them come in and do the mitigation. We'll hold them to it. The biggest issue they'll have is containment, which we'll have to build some type of containment so they can get things out. We asked them possibility, they would still have to have some containment up here, but they could take out the windows right where Supervisor Conover sits, and they can bring all their material out through those windows as opposed to coming into the county center. So we're still working through those details. Once we finalize them, I'll update the committee on that from there.
Let me ask a question.
Sure.
Were there any floor plans or elevations associated with this?
Yes, there was plans drawn up for the project to go out to bid. Yes,
Who did those?
we did them in-house.
So I'd like to take a look
Okay.
at them at some point. Is anyone else? No. All right, I'll get together with you.
Okay. All right, the next project we had, unless anybody has any questions on the boardroom, the next project we've got going, which was also the use of the ARPA dollars, was the chimney demolition project. Davco Masonry, the contractor, will move in the next Monday. And they expect to be over and done with in 2 weeks. And they'll have that project completed. They'll have a dumpster out front. And they will be taking all their material off the front. Nothing will have to come through the building. Gonna be kind of a couple step process. They'll take down the brick that's up there, and then they'll remove the flue at each joint until they get down below the roof level, and then they'll put a new membrane back over that area. Once that's done, then Scott and his crew will get into the corner office and start doing the repairs that are needed in that corner office. So the last one to talk about on here, which I'll give that to Scott, is the OES garage heat installation.
Oh, yes, they've actually, BPI has the contract to put in and install the 3 40-foot long heaters in the OES building, so they will have heat within the next 2 weeks over there. Which will take care of basically keeping all the equipment nice and warm over there. It's been a project, been a process where they've done a very good job in making sure that everything is done and up to specs. We are taking advantage of a tank that we had on site, so that it'll actually save in a little bit of the cost for them. Because this is money that they're using that they had from the sale of Perkins way back when. So we'll get that, we'll get all their stuff in there, and then we'll be able to utilize the 2 bays that they use over here. We can move everything over there for them. So that'll be completely their garage.
All right.
Mhm.
Any questions, comments? If not, we'll move down to referrals, pending items.
So the last couple items that we had on there, this one's been on for quite some time, and we're getting into spring. So hopefully we'll start some of this work. So it's the design updates to the front entrance. We have been talking about for quite some time that the first step in this will be the front steps. With that being said, the way that we're going to look at this is we have about $200,000 left over from the court project. We would certainly like to have our consultant, Labella, did all the preliminary design work, but it may be them to do some final design for us. Scott's guys are capable of doing a lot of work, but moving those stone steps and such out front, I think we want to probably have a contractor do some of that work. I don't want to take a chance that we're going to damage a lot of those steps, and I want to make sure that, they're put in to spec. And we certainly know that when we removed a lot of those steps when they did the courthouse project, they weren't put back in necessarily correctly or properly, and that's why we're getting a lot of that water seepage into those seams, which is actually causing it to kind of pull apart or blow apart. So again, on top of that, you all recall that we had a set of plans from Labella as well to kind of show what those, I guess we call them zones around the campus center, is to upgrade, do some work around the campus center. What I would like to do as part of this, and it may be coming back later on, is to have whomever that consultant may be, put those plans together for the front steps, but include it within the ring road I want to see if we can take that section that was agreed upon and see how much of that we can get into this as well. I don't know what the cost would be yet, but it would certainly encompass removing a lot of the concrete out there. Probably removing the ring road, fixing the drainage, and adding more green space and the possibility of that memorial that was out front as well. So we would look to probably have the consultant at least do that design, give us the design, and then possibly put it out to bid. Maybe we'll do the bid in alternate so that we would do a bid for the steps, and then add alts would be how much more that we can do with the funding that we have. So that's the steps that we want to take, unless somebody thinks differently, but I think that's how we would proceed. And again, we can do those add all bids so that we can, certainly steps would be first. And then based on funding, we can see what would come after that.
Reasonable. Supervisor Conover.
Yeah, I think timing on this is getting critical, because I mean, that asphalt out there, as you know, is looking pretty bad. And it's beyond just, pothole patching. You got major sections that really have to be. You may remove them with your plows this winter, and
We've probably already taken
I'll
some.
take some.
my point is, if we're going to do the project, then we should make a decision. If we're not going to do the project, then you can get busy, preparing a repaving and striping plan. I mean, it seems to me it's this or it's that, right? And so, but either way, I think you're probably out of, I'm gonna guess for most of it, you could be out of 25 and you're into 26. And so I don't know what you're thinking is how you're gonna hold it all together between now and then.
So I'll just add again, the first part of this would be certainly the steps, and we expect to get that early this year. But again, I want our consultant to look at putting together a set of plans that would encompass that. If the funding isn't there, I would certainly come back and discuss that with the committee to see if there is any other funding that we can use, or as you say, Supervisor Conover, we would do some of that work out there, at least as a temporary fix to where we can get to the next level of doing the rest of the work that Lavella had proposed on their original plan. So we would certainly, and I would get it, even if I had to do a Band-Aid for this year out front, then that's what I would do, as a Band-Aid out front for this year.
Anyone else?
Get your Band-Aids out.
Big ones.
The magnetometer.
Mhm.
Spoken with the sheriff's department, they are in the process of filing the paperwork to purchase the new magnetometer for out here. By DMV, it is gonna be the one that we had talked about, where it's just a simple 2 towers that you can walk through. Scans very quickly and everything, so we're just waiting on them to finalize the paperwork for that grant that they're gonna get and pay for it. We'll get it installed for them.
So that particular magnetometer will require minimal, if any, modifications out there where it's gonna be.
They will require none.
No, require not.
We've already done the desk move, and that would have been the only thing, but yeah, that's
Good.
remain as is.
Anyone have any questions or comments? I just had one other item. The Regional Forensics Center, like an update on that.
Turn it over to John.
This is the first time I've heard, what are we talking about?
Regional Forensics
Okay,
Center,
okay, all right.
Regional Board.
Regional board.
Somebody
So-
changed it to Regional Forensic Center, so
We have a meeting set up, I think in 2 weeks, with folks down at NISAC. Actually about 4 of them, Steve Aquario as well. And they're going to, give us some points of contact in the New York State we can work with, to see if we can get some funding for this. And I have another meeting set up with Jackie Bray, Homeland Security, because we're talking about a mass casualty facility. That's something that Homeland Security is probably interested in and helping to support, because there isn't anything in the eastern side of New York or northern portion close by, so, it would serve a big, it'd be a big service for the state of Network. So, that's where we stand right now. After we meet, I'll have, I have a letter prepared. I'll send to the counties, asking for a representative to be, on a committee to talk about, you know, setting up some type of authority and getting a commitment from the other counties, to fund both the capital cost and understanding what the operating costs are going to be in it. It's not moving as quickly, I know, as we had hoped. And probably the costs are going to go up a little bit, but I think we realized that the cost would be too significant for Warren County to take this on and do the capital cost on our own.
Mhm.
That would be a bond. We have a lot of other priorities at the county that will probably rise above this for county support if we had to take a bond out. So I think it's going to be contingent on getting support from additional counties.
Hopefully, some of these other entities maybe can provide some funding. Who knows what level, but that's, we'll
Yeah,
see.
Our target is to try to get maybe half of the funding provided through grants and through the state, and then we figure out how to fund the other half of the construction cost.
Good. Thank you for that. Anybody have anything else? If not, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Supervisor Stroud, second, Supervisor Diamond, all in favor? Aye. Thank you.